Welcome to Sunny Dialogues with Coach Evolved Faith. Today's video is a talk that I shared with a group called Timmys Round Table on the 5th of February 2022 as a guest speaker. The video is broken into 3 parts. The first part is my story, my reflection, and lessons that I have learned. The second part with a number of lessons that I learned, and the final part, which is the third part, will be a discussion of the talk. I want to talk about the inner game because each one of us has a powerful mind, and in that mind you will find that the inner voice tells you you can, and then you have another voice inside there that tells you you cannot. So you need to start self-directing and resolve the inner obstacles that dwell within that head. How do you do that? Resetting. When you reset, you go back to the Word of God. And that's where you start learning. Through the Word of God, you start verifying what is correct, what is wrong. When people say you are not good, you're not worthy, you cannot do it, what are they saying? Why can't you do it? If they don't believe in you, what is your inner voice telling you? Because sometimes, and most times, we listen to what people say and ignore what our inner voice is telling us. So as you work out the conflict that is going on in your head, you need to learn to trust yourself, to believe what your heart tells you, what your soul tells you. Because there's always something in us that tells us, I can do this or I cannot do this. I am good enough, even though people are telling me I'm not good enough. Go shop and you're selecting shoes, different shoes, and each of you will go and pick different shoes depending on what works for you. It's the same thing with our mind. You know what is right and you know what is wrong. So just work through that and have the courage to stand with your truth. Ralph Waldo Emerson says, that belief consists in accepting the affirmations of the soul, and belief in denying them. So when you believe in yourself, you already know your soul is telling you that you can do this. Your soul is telling you you're beautiful the way you are, just the way you are. You're perfect the way you are. You're worthy the way you are. Trust it. So when you have unbelief, you will start not trusting in the affirmations. You will start not trusting in yourself and start trusting in what people tell you. Or when people tell you that you're good, you'll start doubting yourself. Remember that people see what lies in you. So good people will bring out the good in you. And then you'll have people who will see the good in you and they will try to stifle it. Or they will judge you because they do not know you as you know yourself. So you have to speak your own story. You have to do things according to the strength. And if you realize you cannot do whatever you need to do, then you will go back inwards and you will know whether you can do it or if you cannot do it. Why can't you do it? Why can't you love that person? Is it because they hurt you? Is it because they're unworthy of being loved? Is it because you don't feel them? And when that happens, you have to ask yourself, what is going on with me? What is this person that I'm resenting, that I'm not able to love, telling me? What does it tell me? Because sometimes people say things to us and we get irritated. or we get upset, or we get annoyed. But in essence, we're not getting annoyed with the other person. We're getting annoyed with them because there's something in us that they're provoking, that they're awakening. And I use that whenever I get irritated by somebody or annoyed by somebody. I always ask myself, what is it? What was provoked by what so-and-so said, what Mwangi said, or what Mary said to me? Why did I get upset? Because it speaks volumes about what is going on internally. And then I can go back and see what is it that I have that needs to be sorted out, that needs to be resolved, because probably there's an issue that I have that is not sorted out, and therefore I get irritated when somebody talks about it. So whenever I have that conflict, I always get back to the inner self. I close my eyes and unpack so that I can get to the bottom of what business I have that is unresolved. We'll also discover that we have dreams. I don't know whether you've ever had an experience where you dream of something, you even dream of a very good idea, and you go share it with a friend, and then they ask you, what kind of an idea is that? It doesn't make sense, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And then later, maybe a year later, you find that your friend, the one you shared an idea with, have implemented the idea that you had. And then you get mad and say, this person stole my idea. I know people who do businesses and they say, I shared my idea with a friend, then they discourage me from carrying out the idea. But a year later, they went ahead and implemented that business concept. And I've come to understand that they don't actually steal your idea. What they do is that they process from the time you tell them that idea, at that moment, it doesn't make sense to them. So they dissuade you from doing it. But as they think about it, they start visualizing it, they internalize it and understand it, and then they implement it. Now, where am I going with this? My point of focus at this point is that when you dream and have an idea, think it out. And when you share it with somebody else and it doesn't work out, they dissuade you from carrying it out. Don't stop carrying out the idea. Go back to the drawing board, because remember, you're the one who dreamt it. You're the one who had the vision for this idea. Go back to the drawing board that is internal and rework it based on the feedback you get from your friends. And then, because you've been given feedback, you can now come and put it into action. You can implement it. Because if you don't, the person you share with will visualize it and eventually implement it. And sometimes we just think of how we can create something, but we don't create it because we fear. We fear that we don't have the resources. Remember that whatever God has put in us is not just for us, but whatever God has put in us, the innate power, is to help us and add value to the community at large. So whatever you dream it and then visualize it. When you visualize it, then you can put it into action. I'll share a story about being a mother. I raised my children and I was always pushing them to do better. And I never saw how they were doing because I was always seeing I was looking at the future, how they would excel. And I would miss out on the present. And one time a friend of mine told me, you're so focused on the future that you miss out on the present. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to talk about the dream vision, the process, and being present. Because when you have a vision, remember, you don't achieve a vision by jumping from dreaming to doing the total vision, but you dream, visualize, and then you start putting it into a blueprint that now you can work on. How do you work on that blueprint? By taking baby steps. And that is the process. So when you take the baby steps, whatever you do with the baby steps, baby step number 1, do it and do it perfectly. Be totally present in the moment so that you can enjoy that moment and you can do the best that you can. Because the next baby step you take will build up onto the first step that you took. Tiny steps, incrementally, and doing the best in every step of the way is a good way of being totally present at the moment. So when you're raising children, be present with your children. Enjoy every moment, because it is in enjoying and correcting and guiding in every step of the way that you will end up with very healthy children in all aspects, physically, mentally, emotionally. Quality and being present at whatever you do. Right now, we're 36 of us. Two people have dropped out. But I want to ask you, are you present with me? Or are you here and you're busy doing something else, maybe on the phone or maybe in the house or wherever you are? Are you present? Because if you're present, at the end of this conversation, however boring or however interesting it is, you will take something home. But if you're not present, you will be here, but you will not take anything home. So being present in whatever you do is totally important. When you watch people playing, I know there are people who love football. There are people who love basketball. And when you watch the best players, the caliber of Eliud Kipchoge, the caliber of Michael Jordan, what do you see? What makes them stand out? It is because they visualize and they are present in the process. So if a ball is thrown, you don't just jump, but you think at the spur of the moment. You don't see the ball, you see it with your outside eyes, you see it with your internal eyes, and you're able to know, I'm going to catch this ball calmly, I'm going to jump through reflex. Reflex is an internal eye, and then catch the ball and put it in the basket. Or when you're Eliud Kipchoge, you know that you're going to run, and you're going to run because no man is limited and you have a target to meet, but you don't focus on the target. You focus on every step of the way and break it down. And that is the process. And ultimately you attain the results that you desire. That presence starts in your internal place, not the external place. And then to achieve that vision, focus is not sufficient if you don't acquire self-mastery. I think that's what I'm trying to combine. Self-mastery, managing the thoughts, the emotions, and the situations that you go through. When you acquire self-mastery, it means that, and this is very, very important, it means that you are in a position where you can sense your thoughts, and you can control the thoughts, and then you can control the words you speak and the emotions you feel. A lot of times we allow thoughts to take over our lives, but when you have self-mastery, then it means that you are able to manage your thoughts in such a way that you can drop a thought even before it's fully formulated in your mind. When the people who read the Word of God consistently know that the more you study the Word of God, the more power you gain to control thoughts that are not pleasing, thoughts that are not building, and quickly drop them, discard them, and bring present the thoughts that really matter. But it requires you to pay attention to your thoughts, attention even to your body. There are people who know how to listen to what their body is telling them. And there are many people who have no idea what is happening to their body. But when you're present, you're able to pay attention to your thoughts, you're able to manage those thoughts, and then guide yourself in such a way that you can attain the kind of life that you want to do. And you'll manage and regulate your emotions and manage situations In situations where you start feeling suicidal thoughts, you will get external help, but the real help will come from the thoughts that you tell yourself, the things that you entertain, the defeat that you allow yourself to feel. If you feel you're getting to the end of the road, just remind yourself, I still have something that I can use to change my situation, and trust in yourself. Carl Jung says, your visions will become very clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, but the person who looks inside awakes. We've talked about managing the self, the internal person, but ultimately this person that you have managed is meant to come up with an output. What is your output? Your output that will put food on the table, your output that will make you a whole person who's healthy, your output that will make you relate well with other people. But for you to relate well with other people, you must also collaborate by building your character so that you can have moral values that help you to interact with other people. And that's where the word of God comes in very, very important, because that's the Bible that guides you through knowing how you need to relate with God, how you need to relate with yourself, and how you need to relate with other people. The greatest commandment is love. Loving God and loving yourself in such a way that you're able to love your neighbor. So when you read the word of God, your moral compass gets better and better. And therefore, when you spend time with the word of God, you build your character. You are encouraged even in suffering, because you know that God assures you that he's going to be there with you every single moment, even in the storm of life that you're going through. And I want to say this, that when God created the world in the beginning, he provided all that we need. And after he had done all the provision, he created the earth, he created the water, he created the galaxy, he created the plants, he created the animals. After he had created all that we need, that's when he created a human being. Why? After he had ensured that we have provision. So whenever I find myself feeling defeated, I'm encouraged because I know before I was born, God had already provided for my needs. So when my needs become overwhelming, I take a pause and ask myself, am I needing something that is really not supposed to be in my life? Or am I asking for what I need in a different way? Am I perceiving things in the wrong way? Because I know God has put all that I need here on earth. He put it here on earth before I was born. So that is very important. And building our character is very important, because sometimes we concentrate on building material things and forget that who we are is also very, very important in us relating to one another. So I have two quotes here that I would like to share. And the first one, I really love it, because in being productive, sometimes we think we should only do things because somebody is watching us. There's a boss supervising you, there's a parent, there's your spouse, there's somebody watching over you. But true performance can only occur in your own internal arena. You can fool everyone else, but you cannot fool your own mind. So whatever you do to be productive, please remember, don't be supervised, but don't be watched by anybody. And remember, for you to thrive and become who God wanted you to become, nobody is going to supervise you other than God himself, because he's put the resources in you. So just keep tapping into your inner self and keep bringing out the person that God created, and ensure that you become productive in the area that God has gifted you and in the area that God has created you to do. Whenever you feel that you have fallen, remember to reset, throw the dice so that you can have a second and a third chance and do it again and fail forward. because it's in failing forward that we become better. It is in going through painful experiences that we become better people, that we become, we perfect whatever we're supposed to do. And then in terms of character, I have a quote by David Brooke from his book, The Road to Character. We live in a culture that teaches us to promote and advertise ourselves and to master the skills required for success, but that gives little encouragement to humility, sympathy, and honest self-confrontation, which are necessary for building character. So you build your character, you will build a successful life, a fulfilling life, and you will nurture healthy relationships with other people. The dream that nests within you. The dream that nests within you is the dream that brings out the power that you have, the innate power that you have. And each one of us has a dream, because the dream in you is the purpose that God has put in you. So I have quoted from 3 Kenyan people, and number 1 is from Sarah Kabu, the managing director of Bonfire Adventures. And I picked this because they have done such a wonderful job in the tour industry and are currently the number 1 tour operators in the continent of Africa. The strength of your dreams and your willingness to wake up and chase the dreams is very important to your success, to you achieving whatever you desire, to you becoming the best. And when I'm talking about success, I'm also talking about being successful. I am successful, not in material wealth, but in becoming the person that God wanted me to be. And I'm still in the process of growing. That's why I call myself Coach Evolved Faith. Then we have our own Lupita Nyong'o, who said, your dreams are valid. It doesn't matter who you are, your dreams remain valid. And our very own sporting hero, Eliud Kipchoge, says, no human is limited. Just see how these successful people are reiterating that the dream that you have is so valid. With your eyes closed, your dreams remain valid. So tap into them and bring them out, and don't allow anyone to limit you. To summarize, 3 things: dream and tap into who you are, visualize, process, remember to be present in whatever you do, in the action steps that you're taking, master yourself, become excellent, and build your character. And to do this, you must know who you are and draw strength from within yourself, because once you master yourself, you will handle whatever nasties life throws at you, whatever situation anyone throws at you, you will be able to deal with it from your inner strength. And then finally, activate. Don't just dream, don't just know yourself and just sit back. Do something with it. Actualize and relate with people. By actualizing and relating with people, you make the world a better place. If somebody had not invented Zoom, we would not be having this meeting today. So if they had dreamt about it and just left it at that, would not be able to have the meeting that we're having today. When Christ came, he said that he came so that the blind could see. And he didn't mean the blind, the people who did not have eyesight, but he wanted us to be able to see, so that we could see and press the reset. Go back to our Creator. Go back and walk with God, because he has good plans for each and every one of us. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.